Two local officers in just 1 week find themselves off the force, but not in jail. But their punishment does not keep them away from law enforcement forever. Shelby Danielson joins us live to explain how that's even possible. Shelby?
That's right, Heather. Instead of facing a trial and possible prison time at this building, the Duval County Courthouse, they are now dealing directly with this building, the state attorney's office right across the street. That's where they reached a plea deal. So instead of facing prosecution, they will still be penalized, but it's not permanent.
I'm here telling you I have arrested Officer James for this.
In his 3.5 years at JSO, Sergeant Timothy James was caught on surveillance video multiple times for incidents that landed him on the state attorney's Bradley list for bad behavior. After the latest offense, battery on an unarmed, handcuffed teen, he will officially hand in his badge Thursday night.
In the Jacksonville case, there was a lot of evidence problems, and the state attorney cited those evidence problems.
Attorney Tad Delegal is a former union lawyer with the Fraternal Order of Police.
In both cases, they reached deals or dispositions rather than take the case to trial, and that's a reflection of the prosecutor's judgment as to whether or not the case is strong enough to obtain a conviction.
The plea deal imposes community service and a fine on James. Plus, he's banned from working as an officer in Duval, Nassau, and Clay counties for 3 years. He also can apply elsewhere in the meantime.
But I think it'd still be hard for him to get hired.
Up the road in Nassau County, another plea deal was reached with Kyle Thal this week, a now former officer with a long history of unlawful arrests. His deal also keeps him out of jail, but he forfeits his police certificate altogether, although that doesn't have to be permanent.
You technically can reapply, but it has to be approved by the Criminal Justice Standards and Training Commission.
But it's possible.
It's possible, but I don't think it's likely, and I don't think it's ever happened.
Now, the state attorney, Melissa Nelson, and the prosecutor on this case was unavailable for an interview, but they did just send us this following statement a few minutes ago saying, quote, "Our office takes these cases very seriously, and we remain committed to being transparent in our decision making. The outcomes in these cases are informed by a myriad of factors, including the weight of the evidence and the seriousness of the offense. Dispositions have ranged from pretrial intervention to incarceration. Our foremost goal for those officers who have violated the public trust is to ensure they no longer occupy their positions in law enforcement within our communities." Of course, we're going to dig some more into both of these officers' histories this evening. Reporting live at the courthouse, Shelby Danielson, First Coast News on your side.